Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. The ancient age of the church was full of beautiful hymns of the faith, of which sadly very few have survived. Now, in the providence of God, we do have several, one of which we'll explore in this episode. This hymn, originally written in Latin, is one of the oldest surviving hymns in the Christian faith, with the lyrics likely from the 6th century AD. And it paints a grand sweeping picture of the completed work of Jesus Christ, beginning with his pre-existence with the Father and culminating with the promise of his triumphant return at the end of all things. Let's explore a magnificent hymn of the Christian faith, O Savior of Our Fallen Race. Now, the hymn, meant to be sung on Christmas Day, begins by celebrating the first coming of the Savior, Jesus Christ, into a world that so desperately needed him by putting our human vesture on and coming to us as Mary's son. From the Father's throne he came, the hymn tells us, to reclaim his banished children. The jubilance of the writer is felt throughout the song, which reverberates with gospel truth. Our guilt has been washed away indeed, thanks to the completed work of Christ the King. Now, the last verse of the song is in some ways a cliffhanger, as it leaves the singer with great anticipation for the coming day when the world will see the radiant face of the Savior. The one who came before will come again and all restore. Ending in the greatest news, the hymn celebrates the hope for every believer who will dwell in a perfect relationship with the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. And this Trinitarian finality carries great weight with it as we consider the uncertain times in which the song was written. In the ashes of the Roman Empire, with paganism all around and anti-Trinitarian heresies rampant in the church, believers needed a reminder of the triune God whom they worshiped and who would someday make all things right. And this song gave it to them. Now, as we said in the beginning, the lyrics of this hymn were written sometime likely in the 6th century AD by an unknown author, as Christianity was spreading throughout the lands formerly dominated by Rome. The original title of the hymn was Christe Redemptor Omnium, which would match closely with an English translation of Christ the Redeemer of the World. The celebration of Christmas as a holiday was only several generations old at this time, with the first Christmas celebrations taking place likely in the late 4th century AD. So there can be no doubt that this hymn was an important part of the observation of Christ's incarnation in the Dark Ages. Now, versions of it have been discovered in Germany and England, each from the later Middle Ages. And in God's sovereignty, O Savior of Our Fallen Race has survived until the present day. In fact, in the 20th century, a Lutheran pastor by the name of Gilbert E. Doan translated this ancient hymn to its modern iteration that we know today. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.